Good news today. नई उम्मीद जगाने वाला हिंदी न्यूज चैनल.
So more than 20 days after Taliban ousted Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani and occupied the presidential palace in Kabul, Taliban have still not been able to form the government amidst reports of major factional fights breaking out. Pakistan's ISI chief, General Faiz Hamid, is reportedly playing the role of a peacemaker or a kingmaker. Is he sending out a message to the West that Pakistan is the handler of Taliban in Afghanistan? On August 15, these images went viral. Taliban at the presidential palace in Kabul. Taliban commanders took control not just of the presidential palace in Kabul, but different departments and buildings. And then began the process of government formation over several days. On the 17th of August, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar travelled first to Kandahar and then to Kabul 4 days later on the 21st of August. He had been at the Taliban political office in Doha since 2018 after spending 8 years in a Pakistani prison. Pakistan's ISI had been extremely upset that he had reportedly been trying to carry out independent negotiations with the United States and the leaders in Afghanistan. Mullah Baradar is now tipped to head the Taliban government. Almost every day there is news of the Taliban government being formed, but according to sources, information that's filtering out, there are major fissures within the Taliban and there is a major fight for power. Mullah Haibatullah Akhundzada has not been seen for years. He is the spiritual head of Taliban and was expected to lead Friday prayers on the 3rd of September before the announcement of the Taliban government. But that too did not happen. The Taliban released a picture of Mullah Akhundzada on the 30th of August, but it is not clear who all has he met in Kandahar since he arrived. There are reports that Sher Abbas Tanikzai is tipped to be Taliban's foreign minister. But there are reports of fissures between Mullah Yaqub, son of the founder of Taliban, Mullah Muhammad Omar, and Sirajuddin Haqqani over the control of weapons and soldiers. According to intelligence officials, there are fissures over control of various departments and ministries, including justice, religious affairs, and security. Local media reports say that Taliban affiliates have confirmed that there is a disagreement between the Haqqani group and Taliban's Islamic Emirate over division of power. India today has learnt that the Haqqani faction has demanded the crucial interior and defense ministry, but sources say the supreme leader Haibatullah Akhundzada hasn't accepted this demand.
जो कंधारी तालिबान है और जो हक्कानी नेटवर्क है, सिराजुद्दीन हक्कानी और मुल्ला अब्दुल गनी बरादर, क्या दोनों में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंसेस हैं? लड़ाई हो रही है आपस में?
नहीं, कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है, कोई लड़ाई नहीं है. हमारी एक आइडियोलॉजी है, एक पॉलिसी है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. लेकिन जो वो रिपोर्ट्स है आपकी तरफ से या दूसरी तरफ से, वो तो 20 साल से ऐसे पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड रिपोर्ट्स कर रही है, लेकिन वो हकीकत को रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करते.
Coupled with this is the issue of an inclusive government. What role and powers will leaders in Afghanistan have? Will leaders like former President Hamid Karzai and former Chief Executive Dr. Abdullah be included or wield any real authority? There is also chatter that the Pakistan army is rushing in top commanders and ISI officers to help the Taliban. It is not clear whether this help is with combating the resistance at Panjshir or government formation in Kabul. In Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. And reports indicate that Pakistan is trying to plant its proxies in the seat of power in Afghanistan. So Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, who spent 8 years in a Pakistani prison and seeks an inclusive government, is likely to be relegated. Reports say Pakistan is pushing for Mullah Hassan Akhund, the head of the Rehbari Shura, to head the government. Reports claim Akhund, who was foreign minister in the first Taliban government and is seen as one of the hardliners close to the Haqqani faction and Pakistan's ISI, is likely to head the government. He is from Kandahar. His name is being pushed to be Raise Wazara, or the head of the Taliban dispensation, and Mullah Baradar is likely to be his deputy if the ISI has it their way. The ISI is also pushing for Sirajuddin Haqqani to be the interior minister and Mullah Yaqub to be the defense minister of the Taliban establishment. Now, if there is an agreement in all factions, then the government may be announced over the next 24 to 48 hours. The Taliban have already announced that they will be inviting countries like Pakistan, China, Russia, Iran, Turkey and Qatar for the Taliban government formation. That's the Taliban's guest list for you. Countries like China, Pakistan, Russia, Iran, Turkey and Qatar are to be invited for Taliban's government formation. I quickly now want to cut across to our guests on India First. From Panjshir to Taliban government formation, is Pakistan's terror footprint exposed everywhere? Is this, as experts argue, the Pakistan ISI or the Pindi Shura calling the shots in Afghanistan? I want to bring into this conversation Professor Faiz Zalan. He's a professor of policy and governance at the Kabul University. Also with me is Major General Sanjay Meston. He's India's former defense attaché to Afghanistan. General Meston, what signal does the presence of DGISI in Kabul send? Is he sorting out issues in Taliban government formation or ensuring Taliban's victory in Panjshir?
I think he is ensuring both, Gaurav. Firstly, the intent of this DGIS was very, very clear there. The purpose was, the resistance, the national resistance movement was a very difficult, hard nut to be cracked by Taliban. And therefore, large number of Taliban soldiers were captured, killed, and many of them surrendered. So therefore, since it was becoming a tough nut to crack, the DGISI was called, and he has spent full day over there. He has been briefed about the situation and given specific targets, and his SSG were already there. The Pakistan Army SSG were already there. They were having a rough time. So therefore, his presence was to ensure and see as to how they can, tackle this national resistance, which was really very tough, and it's been doing it's been doing extremely well. And therefore, last night they have used airstrikes, very, very reliable sources. It's not only 1, 4, 5 reliable sources. Not only that, I think in today all the Twitter and Facebook of Afghan, all Afghans, it is already there, very open. So airstrikes were used, attack helicopters were used, and drones were used. And there are some indications, I think, that the national resistance movement has been able to shoot down 2 of the UAVs.
We are still waiting for a confirmation on that. But Professor Zalan, is Pakistan sending out a signal, whether it is to the United States or to the United Kingdom, that the way to Taliban is through the Pindi Shura or the ISI headquarters, with several experts now saying that if you have to talk to Taliban, deal with Pakistan?
I think Pakistan is not new in this game. Pakistan has tried to show such kind of strength for past several years, specifically since the resistance or the insurgency started by the Taliban in 2003. But Pakistan was never capable of bringing such kind of impact on Taliban's movement. That's why Taliban, instead of starting a peace talk from Islamabad, they moved out of Islamabad. They went to Qatar, to Doha, to talk to US and the rest of the world first. Second, Pakistan tried highly with pressures on Taliban. They have detained, for example, Mullah Biradar Ghani. Many of Taliban leaders, they were assassinated in Pakistan. Many were jailed, but they never were able to bring Taliban to table with former President Ghani in Islamabad or somewhere within Pakistan. Pakistan is trying its impact on Taliban, but Taliban, as being Afghans, and Afghans who are known that they do not accept foreigners as their lords, as their masters. They have been an independent nation. They will never accept any such kind of impact. We should not forget about the Mujahideen also.
Okay.
Mujahideens were in the same situation when they were fighting the Soviets. They started their resistance from Pakistan. When they formed their government, many of the Mujahideen leaders, they become too much anti-Pakistan, and they cut off their links and connections with Pakistan.
And that is why Pakistan sorted out, yes, Pakistan sorted out a number of those leaders. But General Meston, August 15th was when Taliban ousted the Ashraf Ghani government. Now it's the 6th of September and there is no government in place. Are Taliban factions united? They were united in taking on the Americans or ousting Ashraf Ghani. But is there a fight for power in Kabul? Pakistan-backed Haqqani network versus the Kandahari Taliban?
This fight will continue. It is going on. And even in earlier lot of channels, I have conveyed that this will continue. This problem will continue. And now let me also tell you who's also doing it. See, firstly, who's divided the Taliban? It is the Pakistan who's divided. Now, ISI chief has not gone there for reconciliation, etc. He is also ensuring that he is meeting people separately and they remain divided. Division of Taliban and division between Taliban and Haqqani suits Pakistan. Why it suits? Because the day these people get one, it is going to strike and hit Pakistan in every manner. And the Durand line, as it is heard before the formation of the government, that they were very clear that this fencing with the Pakistan has made it is against the basic protocols, number one. Number two, they are not going to recognize Durand line. So therefore, they will keep having these fissures. So they have been successfully been able to create this Haqqani. See, the peace talks were never between Haqqani and United States. The peace talks were between Taliban and United States.
Yes.
How this suddenly Haqqani has come? So Pakistan has inserted Haqqani very successfully. So now Haqqani group and Quetta Shura are fighting, and therefore this fight will continue. And within Taliban also, there is enough fighting, and even what you have highlighted, new names are cropping up, and every day new names will keep coming.
Okay.
So this fissures will continue. This is going to result into further chaos. Pakistan is very, very happy. It gives the impression that it is, brokering peace and everything. Firstly, I do not know how they have come in this whole process. What role has the DGISI got?
In fact, Professor Zalan, isn't that curious? What was DGISI doing at the Serena Hotel? And did the Taliban require Pakistan SSG commandos to fight against Panjshir? That's point one. Point two, what do you make of the conversation or the talk of differences between the Kandahari Taliban, Mullah Akhundzada, Hebatullah Akhundzada, Mullah Biradar versus Sirajuddin Haqqani?
First of all, Panjshir is similar terrain, similar difficult valley as many valleys existed in Badakhshan. Many such valleys are existed in Bamiyan. Many of such valleys are existed in Parwan, and also in Paktia, Paktika, Khost, and many. Afghanistan is known for its terrain, its mountainous country. So we should not forget if a movement fights 99% of its land and conquer 1% remaining Panjshir, which was already surrounded from all four sides, would easily turn into the hands of Taliban. I think they needed any Pakistani or any other troops on the ground to fight very few people. You must have noticed that so few casualties were there on the fight, on the field, and those casualties were becoming even within the split in the resistance Panjshiri
Be that as it, if that was the case, what was General Hamid doing in Kabul? Why was he meeting Mullah Biradar? Why is Pakistan giving out that impression that it's Pakistan that's sorting out differences between Taliban, and Mullah Biradar and Sher Abbas Stanikzai, they are now being relegated, they are being sidelined, and the hardline Haqqani faction is on center stage?
No one is relegated. Faiz Hamid is not the first foreigner intel director that he has met in Taliban. CIA director met Taliban before him in Kabul. Pakistan recently have received some tweets. One it was that many TTP commanders, they were released from the jails, Polecharkhi and Bagram, when they broke up.
Yes.
Second, there are recently attacks, even a suicide attack after many years on the Pakistani forces in Waziristan and also in Quetta, Balochistan. Third, they have fear of this bureau line management. Previously, our previous government, Ashraf Ghani, he had a border management SOP with Pakistan. So they are trying to keep those terms on the ground. Mullah Biradar, he met today the head of Recent International. Yesterday, he met Griffin, who is second United Nation. He is fully in power. He is fully acting as a man in the lead, the cabinet and the government of Taliban. There, I don't see any fissures, division within the Taliban. I've been meeting many of the in Kabul, meeting them, and the team so much and so much well organized for creating a new government.
Okay.
Things should be managed before announcing.
If you are saying there are no differences, why has the government not been announced for so many days? It's been over 3 weeks. And before I bring in General Meston, will this new government have representation of women, or are women being sidelined completely? And what about people like Hamid Karzai or Dr. Abdullah? Will they have a role to play, or will the Haqqani network have it their way, the winner takes all?
Actually, it is not for 3 weeks. It is 3 weeks or around more than 22 days, the Kabul fall into the Taliban. But Taliban, by international agreement, they were not supposed to make any government till 31st of August. Because till 31st of August, US troops were presented in Afghanistan. Taliban were not wishing to announce any government with the presence of foreign troops. So the Taliban are supposed to organize a government since 1st September. Today is the 6th September. So it is almost 6 days they have not called for a government. And creating a government will take time because there are so many divisions, not only within the political arena, but also with social, economical, and many others. Third very important thing, we have government, for example, now we have government in India. It is a BJP government. BJP will not bring Rahul Gandhi or any Congress into their own cabinet or into their formation of the government. So it is similar like when a party takes over a country, when a party takes over a power, it is their will that do they share purposely, ethically, and politically. They are not supposed to share their power with anybody else.
Fair enough.
Ghani was not sharing power with anybody else.
On that point of Hamid Karzai, okay. What about women? I'll come to that aspect in just a moment.
Yes.
But information filtering out of Kabul also indicates that Lieutenant General Hamid, the Director General of Pakistan's ISI, met Taliban's leadership in Kabul and asked them to ensure that Afghan soil is not used for anti-Pakistan activities, as Professor Zaland was also mentioning, which is not used by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Clearly, Islamabad wants to secure the Durand line and shift focus along the line of control. Is the current situation then advantage Pakistan ISI? These images of Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, Director General of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence at Kabul's Serena Hotel, went viral online. The 3-star general of the Pakistan Army, flanked by multiple aides, was asserting Pakistan's full control over territory captured by Taliban, trained, armed and nurtured by ISI for decades. And the ISI chief's presence in Kabul after the Taliban takeover on the 15th of August was to ensure Pakistan's interests are protected. Amidst reports of a factional feud between the Kandhari Taliban, represented by Mullah Haibatullah Khunzada and Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, and the Haqqani Taliban, represented by Sirajuddin Haqqani and family, Pakistan's ISI is playing a role of the peacemaker.
ड्रोन्स इस्तेमाल हो रहे हैं या एयरफोर्स का इस्तेमाल हो रहा है, वो भी पाकिस्तान की उनकी मदद से ये अंदर आ सकते हैं। तो ये पाकिस्तान की जीत है। पाकिस्तान की मदद से तालिबान ने अफगानिस्तान पे पूरे कब्जा किया। सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल की मीटिंग होनी चाहिए और उसमें ये सारी चीज़ें डिस्कस होनी चाहिए।
Pakistan Army and ISI are also said to be directing Taliban's war on Panjshir, providing not just crucial intelligence but also air power and soldiers, including SSG commandos for the operations, according to resistance fighters. For over 2 decades, Pakistan has backed the Taliban despite being seen as a frontline ally in the war on terror. From General Pervez Musharraf in 2001 to General Qamar Javed Bajwa in 2021, Pakistan's double game continued for the strategic depth in Afghanistan. Pakistan now secures its western border. Pakistan regains strategic depth in Afghanistan. Pakistan counters India's influence in Kabul. Pakistan can now focus entirely on the line of control.